All right. So I'm going to, first of all, I wanted to talk about, before we even get into Canva, the concept of branding. Because I think before you start making designs, you have to know why you're going to make the design. And so you have to think about when you're going to be doing branding, how do I want to sell myself to people? How do I want people to see me? Because you don't want to have what Bill calls sales breath. And so you want it to, when you're creating your brand, you want it to be naturally and authentically you. And so I find it really helpful when I'm thinking about how I want to brand myself and how I want to create a marketing campaign. How do people see me naturally? What do I hear other people saying about me? I actually called Brian last night and I asked him a few questions because I thought I can use him as an example because he's helped me with a few things. And so I thought, I'll see if we can go forward that way. And so I'm going to share my screen really quick. And I had asked Brian some questions. And his friends and family say that Brian is affable, easy to approach, amiable, charming, polite, diplomatic, and impartial. So these are things that he hears people telling him through his life that describe him, that other people say. So that's if this is naturally how people perceive him, these are the things that I want to take into account when we're thinking about how to brand him. And so asking Brian, how does he want to appear to other people? How does he want his marketing to look? He wants to be approachable. He wants to include humor, but he also wants to be professional because it's like you can have fun and you can be funny and you can enjoy yourself up to the point where it's time to be serious and really get things done. We talked about taglines. We went through a lot. We looked online at different taglines that people use. And then we ended up going from real estate into taglines that people use in sports and specifically baseball, because that's something that relates well to him. And so one thing that they had was saying, never let good enough be enough. And so that's a personal motivation, but that spoke to him. So you can take that personal motivation and we switched it to being a tagline by saying, when good enough is not enough, or when good enough isn't enough. And so when you have that personal thing that speaks to you, that you feel like this is like something solid about how I feel, think about how you can convert that to a tagline that markets who you are. When you're going through and creating, it's good to know, like Brian is going to be creating a business name and it's pronounced Aria, right? Brian?
It's Aria.
Aria. Okay. Yeah. So Aria is his daughter's name. And a lot of what he's doing, she's his big why. So having her as part of the name and going forward and building it with her in mind. He also said that realty in Atlanta is a good thing to add to it, which is within the letters of the name. So he finds that to be a good thing. He can play with that later. And so we came up with the fonts that we want to use for each of these things. Harlow Solid was not found in Canva, but we could download it from online. And then we added it to Canva, so I can show you how to do that later. But we chose these different fonts to use for the different parts of his logo and the marketing. So when you're creating your own feel and your own brand and your own look, I think because we're part of Keller Williams and we're required to use Keller Williams colors in so much of our marketing, like you have to have a certain percent red. I want to say it's almost 50% Keller Williams red on your signs and stuff. You want to make sure that whatever colors you're choosing to represent you within Keller Williams either go well with the Keller Williams colors or give it a nice contrast against the Keller Williams colors without creating something that clashes. So it has to kind of flow together. And so because Brian had the sports themes and the different things, he wanted the Cubs colors. So we found the Cubs blue, and these are the color codes for that specific blue. He found that by Googling it. So this is the hex code, the RGB, so the red, green, blue, and the CMKY. These are the different codes that programs use to ensure that anytime you're using the color, it's going to look the same. So it never changes the contrast. So I had sent everybody this. I should make sure actually that I can see the participants because let's see. I can't see the participants right now, and I want to make sure I can let people in if they are coming. Can I make someone the co-host? Heather Fowler, I'm going to make you a co-host, if that's okay.
That's fine. I've never hosted Zoom before, so I don't, do I just let them in?
It's just keep the participant window open, and then if somebody tries to come in, let them in.
Okay.
Okay. So do you see in the participant window, you can?
Sorry, I thought I was on mute. Yeah, I see now.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So if anybody tries to come in, please let them in. So we have, I'd mailed out this KW Colors branding template. And so Brian's colors, for example, when we add it in, because he's chosen this color of blue, I'm going to write here Brian's personal branding colors. And we see his hex code here. I'm going to go into this color sample within the Excel spreadsheet and see how you can fill a cell. I'm going to go down to more colors, and I'm going to go to the RGB sliders because that's where it allows you to add a hex code. So his hex code there is 0E3386. And when I put that in, then it fills that space with his color blue. So now you can see this there, and we'll call it Cubs Blue. And so with this, we see that the hex code was this. So 0E3386. And when he was there, they gave the RGBs and everything, but I'm going to show you because if you're creating your own colors, you're not always going to know these different codes. So if I go into this blue and I want to dump again, and I go to more colors, I can go to these sliders and it shows me that for this particular hex code, within mine, it says 1451-134. So it's not the same as what he has here, but in my experience, it's usually pretty accurate. And if you're creating your own, then you can do that. And you can choose a CMKY slider and it shows you the numbers there. You can choose the HSB sliders and it shows you the numbers there. So then you can fill these in. And then whenever you're in a particular software, whatever you're using, or if you're working with a designer, anytime they want color codes, you have them available. So with doing all of that, we are ready to go into Canva. So if you're planning to work within Canva, go ahead and open it up. I'm going to go to home. I'm giving you a couple seconds. So when you're in Canva, you have, if you come down on the menu on the left, You can see recommended for you, all your designs shared with you. So people that had asked for that template before that I made of a buyer, like seeking buyers for that social media post, when they opened up Canva and they look in the shared with you folder, this is where they would find it, and then you can make a copy of it and paste it to your designs.
Heather, I'm sorry. I have a quick question.
Okay.
Are you working off of Canva Pro or the regular Canva? Because my menu stops at the trash on the left.
Okay.
Green.
Yeah, I have Canva Pro. I do pay for it because the way that I look at it, Canva has so many stock photos and different things available. And as long as you create something within Canva and then use it, you have all the rights to use it. If you're looking for stock images to create stuff, sometimes you're paying up to $20 an image.
Okay.
And Canva, if you pay for the year, works out to $10 a month. If you pay by the month, it's $12.99 a month for Pro. So for less than the cost of one image a month, I have the whole suite.
The whole suite, got it.
And I have unlimited stock images. I have unlimited designs. I have unlimited availabilities. And I've worked within Photoshop. I know how to create vector files. I know how to do all of that stuff. But this is so much easier that unless I'm doing something really high res or something that I want micro control over, I'm going Canva. This, like, Canva changed my world. So I do recommend, if you're going to be using this, to go Pro if you have it in your budget. So within this, I have the brand kit. So when I go into the brand kit, I've added my logos that I've created. Like, I have the cleaning company, and I created this design within Canva. So these are my branding logos that I use often. And you can add brand colors. So I have my KW colors here that are from this palette that we have over here. And I have Heather Helps You. These are the colors here. Because if you see, I have the red and the different things in it, but those are actually the Keller Williams colors. So I don't need to add them to my specific branding colors for my own uses, because I know I'm using the KW colors, which are on that spreadsheet, and I'm using my personal branding colors. And so it depends on what I want to do. And like Deep Clean Atlanta for the cleaning company, these are the colors I use. I have a lot more colors because I'm not using the KW colors. So I helped Ebony create some stuff. And so these are her 3 colors that she uses in addition to KW, which is really only this gold. But she uses the black and white so much that we left that in there for her. So I'm going to show you with Brian now. We can go here to add a new palette. And the untitled palette, we'll call it Brian. And then you just go here and you click on the plus and you add a color. So when you click in it, it automatically brings you to a random place and a random color. And if you move this around, because you don't know for sure what color you want, see how that square is changing down below as I move this? And the hex code number is also changing as I move. Now, if I wanted to go away from reds and go to blues, like say I want a blue tone, and that's somewhere I want, see how it's changing from purples to blues? So you can kind of pick colors here. But with Brian, we know specifically that he wants this hex code, and we know it's a hex code because it has pound in front of it. So his hex code is 0E3386. And then I just hit enter. And I click out of it, and there's Brian's color. Now say that Brian wants another color to contrast with that a little. See how I made these 3 gradiated colors to kind of go with this? And he wants it to play off this solid blue that he has here. We can enter in this hex code. So 0E3386, and it brings us there. And now I can kind of move this around and tweak it. Like I want a lighter shade of blue that complements it nicely. And I kind of like that one. That kind of goes well together with it. And so I can go there and I hit enter, and I've got another color blue that complements that. So I didn't have to really think about where I wanted to go with it. And a lot of times, like, see, I have this light mint color. Sometimes you want a background color that's almost white, that's not white, that looks good with your samples. So like, think about going into the paint store where they have those samples all lined up. They do that because those colors all complement each other and you might use them together often. So with this one, if I click on it, I have this hex code here. I can actually just take this, highlight it, copy it, and then create a new one. And I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna paste it because I wanna go lighter than this color that we just created to have that almost white. So I'm kind of going way over here to the edge. And that's kind of getting a little gray. I don't really want the gray. So going up, and there we go. I kind of like that light blue. So then I'm out of there and I have these colors for Brian. Now that I have my brand kit colors in here, I'm ready to start designing a logo for Brian. So from there, we can go into, templates. And within templates, they have social media. So you can go to Facebook, you can go to Instagram, you can go to Pinterest, and you can choose like different kinds of things that you're going to create. There's personal, it's card, resumes, business, presentations, logo, all of that. There's marketing, there's education. So there's a lot of templates that you can choose from. Or you can think, I know I want to make a logo, so I'm just going to go, I'm going to search for logo. And it brings us to all these logo templates. And what you do is you can, from being within the template, you're not looking for some, like your exact colors. You're not looking for an exact design. You can change the image, but what you're looking for, unless you have something specifically in your mind that you're going for already, these can inspire you. And so knowing Brian's colors and the different things that he's going for, last night when we were playing around a little bit, Brian selected this layout, thinking we could put his business name and everything here, and then put his tagline over here. And as we did that, it kind of, when we were done with it, it wasn't quite a balanced look where he'd be able to do things. So I don't want to go down that road again. But it lets you know that it's that simple to go through and create something. So like say, see how this has an image and then it has two different fonts. As long as you like how those fonts look, if you don't have your fonts already picked out, but you're like, wow, I really like the way that's written, or that really speaks to me about who I am, then go ahead and pick that. And you know, some of them, they have circles around them, some of them are squares. And when you're doing a logo, I do recommend choosing a circle or a square shape to start with, because if you do a rectangle, that's hard to put into certain marketing pieces. And I like to, even if you're doing a square, make sure that it's going to look good when you select just a circle of it, because when you're on social media or websites or different things, so many places when you're inserting your stuff in the picture, they have that circle. So you want to make sure that whatever you make looks good and fits within that circle, so that you don't have to recreate something later to look good in those places. Like for example, this, I don't even know how to say this, Bossa Negra Organic Market. It's purple all around. It looks good as a square, but if you have that circle around it, it's not cutting anything off, and that's going to look good in a profile. Does that make sense? So for Brian specifically, we already know I'm just going to go into this one for a minute. You can look at it closely. It shows you the different things. It shows you, and then it can show you more like this if you like something similar. We just go to this template and you can easily change things around and add or remove elements. So see how this is already set up as they've grouped it. If you put things in here that you like, you can always, and then you want to move it around because you're not sure, like you don't want this fork, you want to change a different image, because you can change it over to a different image, but they have this grouped. So if you right click on it, you can always go here to ungroup, and then you click out, and now they're all individual elements. And so I don't want this knife and fork. That really doesn't speak to me. You can delete that out, go into elements, say I like this one, that speaks to me. So you just click on it and drag it in. So this is very, very versatile. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go logo again. And because Brian and I did some work last night, I already know what fonts he wants. I already know the different things. So then you can go in and you can just create a blank logo. You can start from scratch. And we can go text. We add a heading. We know that he wants to call his company Aria, or Aria, sorry. We highlight it. And we find we had uploaded his font last night, which you can do that here, upload a font. And so if the font that you want is not found within Canva, it'll allow you to use a font. And you can always do a web search for a font if you don't have it on your computer, and then download it. There's so many free font files, it's crazy. So we uploaded Harlow Solid Regular, and now it's that. Now he wanted it to be his blue. So we can go into our colors. I did that really fast, I'm sorry. So you highlight what you want, you've got it here. You go to this letter, the text color, and because I have all the color palettes in here, we go down to Brian's colors and we make it his blue.
Heather, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
How did you populate the KW colors? How did you find out what numerical, things, the KW palette was?
I Googled KW color codes.
Okay.
And they had it online, and I put them in the spreadsheet.
Perfect.
And so then when I went in, I just added all of these hex codes, and you can see if you hover over it, the hex code comes up below it.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
So you can always confirm, like, which hex code am I using,
Okay.
if you want to. But I made that color palette and named it KW because they were the KW files. So that's why I gave you this spreadsheet.
I'm sorry. It's right there.
Because then you have all of your hex codes and everything here that you can create that color palette within your Canva.
Got it. Got it.
And so then you'll always have that available to you, which is really handy because as you can see then, these are default colors, but you don't have to then seek out the colors that you want to use. You always have them available to you. You always know that it's yours.
Perfect.
So now that this is in here and in the box, what we discovered last night is that uploaded fonts are not as user-friendly as Canva basic fonts. So unless you are in love with this font, you can't do anything without it. Like it's your thing. I actually feel like I wouldn't want to be uploading a lot of fonts, but we want to make this as big as possible. So you can kind of just keep, move those around and get it to where you want it. So we've got his area, and then we want to do a subheading, and we want to do, was it Realty in Atlanta, Brian? So we've got Realty in Atlanta, and we want to make that his blue color as well. And I want to go, let's see, looking at what he did. We had used Lustria. So I can go up here and there's the font. And I think we had actually done this in all caps. Okay, so now we can bring this up and have it fit the space here. And that is part of Brian's logo. And he had the tagline that he wanted to use, and he can potentially use some imagery. Brian, is there some kind of imagery that makes you feel like if there was a word that you had to think like represents what you do, like we talked, like when I think of you, I think Renaissance Festival and knights and chivalrous, and
yeah,
because you just have that presence that's, I mean, you're modern, but you also have that dignity about you, that code of ethics and honor. And so for me personally, like just for fun, I'm going to go to elements, right? And I'm going to look for a knight. Okay, so you get all these images that come up, and I think it would be kind of fun to move this down a little bit, and then or maybe even move this over a little and put in, let's see, which one do we like? I feel like I kind of like this one because he's charging over. We can bring this down, and I'm going to move this over a tad and keep bringing this up, move this over. And I'm going to move this backwards so it's behind his letters, but I can kind of see it a little. And we can also make that Ryan's blue. If we wanted to, maybe bring this forward just a little. Because then it gives you a little something else to think about that's original. So I don't know that Brian's going to want to keep this. I don't care if he keeps this, but this shows you like how you can kind of play with it.
when I'm finished with this, I'll so
then
finish that project out, and then I'll
go here. Ebony.
There we go.
So then when he has his thing, when good enough isn't enough, and it's glacial indifference, ironically, is the name of the font, which I found kind of funny. But we can go back to text and add another subheading. Oh, I still have my caps on. And so you want to bring this through, like, so, but we don't want this black, and we might not want it the same color because we might want a contrast. So this is where I would come in and take a Keller Williams color. And this plays right in with Brian's Cubs colors, which is also patriotic. So this can speak to people on a few different levels. And I feel like I would actually want to change this font size to make it smaller because I don't want it bigger than everything else. So maybe bring that to a 16, 14, but you can spread it out. So we can, and I want to make it maybe a little smaller, and then maybe still, I don't know that I like it spread quite that far. So maybe this can be something that we bring to the edge and kind of move down. And then within elements, we can add a line to kind of bring things through. And thinking about the chivalry and all of that, I'm just going to look to see if I see something that makes me think a little more along the lines of professional but nice. I kind of like, let's see, because of the night, it's not too feminine, but I kind of like this. So I'm not totally in love with this, but it gives you the idea of what you can do. So once you've got your logo, and I'd said that we want this to look good in a circle. So another thing that we can do with this is knowing that you can kind of bring this over. You could also bring this up and have it down, you know, knowing that we want to put it in a circle. Or you can bring this forward and maybe even have the knight be part of this. I lost my knight. But you can bring that forward. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, but you can see how you can play with this. So I'm going to Control Z back to where we were. Just so you kind of have this, and you can also know you like this, but you kind of want to play with it. You can duplicate that page. So now you have two of them. So you have this to consider, and then you can maybe move this around and play with it and play with the elements until you figure out which one you like. So you can really figure out what you want to do. So this we would name I'm going to call it Brian Aria Knight, because then we'll know that it's the one that has the knight in it, because we worked on one last night as well. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go to all my designs. So these are all kind of different things that I've worked on and created. This is the one that I shared with everybody. So this was my original design, and I made a copy of it and put it through here. So last night, Brian and I worked on just something funny because we thought that it would be good to include that humor of what he does. And I'm going to show you and I also made selling your home. So you can make a presentation, a selling presentation or a buyer's presentation within here. They have templates that you can use for that. So you can even in your template search, go buyer presentation or seller presentation, and then you can tweak what they have there to make it your own. And then you can download it. You can also have folders for things. So I've made all these different folders, and that way you can find things easily. But if I go back to my designs, and we made this for Brian, if I wanted to make this for myself, or if I want to make a template to share, you just click on these 3 dots while you're in your designs, and you click make a copy. And then it's generating over here. You can click on it, and then you're in the copy of it. See, it says Brian at the top. So we can call, if I want to do this for myself, Heather Goat. And if I wanted to change this to be myself, you can work on it that way, and then I still haven't lost Brian's copy of it. I'm going to go back to home. Going to go all my designs, and I'm going to go into what we created yesterday, just to show you really quickly how easy it is. Brian and I created a temporary logo last night for him just to play with, and so we'll go here, and I made it with a white copy, and I downloaded it and uploaded it in as a file. And so you can size things and put it up. And so you'd have Brian's logo there and put all of this through, and then he would have something he can post. So let's say he wanted to put this on Facebook. At this moment, you could just click here, publish to Facebook. I have my realtor page, and then you can write something. And then you click publish now, and this, just like that, is already on my Facebook. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put Brian's on my Facebook. I can also, and if you want to do it through command, you can see this arrow here. You can download it. You can choose whether you do a transparent background or regular background, but I want to keep it how it is. I download this file. It says it's preparing my design. And then we have this down here. It was originally Brian Test. I open it up, and I can, instead of putting it in downloads, I'll put it to my desktop so it's easier to find. You can see that it has everything here. It's now a PNG file, so it's an image file. You can upload this into command. You can use it to just put into Facebook. However you want to do it, you can use it any way you want. So it's very easy to put things in and out that way. I want to show you as well how easy it is to take something you've handwritten, and if you want to personalize something, I'm going to thank you, Heather, because sometimes I want that personal touch. So I just handwrote it on a piece of paper. I took a picture of it, and I put it on, I just shared it to my computer. So now I have this file of my handwritten note from the desktop. I open it up, and now I have this image here of my handwriting. And once I click on that, it's now part of this image. But I don't want all of this background. A beautiful thing about Canva is if you go to effects, you can change your tones of things, but this one's my favorite. You can remove the background. And there we've got my handwriting. And it's going through, and it's hard to see on this particular background. So say I wanted to make this more visible. I can move this over, make this smaller. I can move this, bring it here. And something that I've done different times is you can add an element box. So I'm going to go to elements, and I use this square all the time for so many things. I bring it to the bottom because I want this to run across the bottom. I bring it through, and this is kind of that space where it's harder to read. So now I've got this gray in here. I don't really want the gray as my tone color, so I'm going to go to white, which might be kind of bright. Maybe I want to go to an off-white or a lighter gray. Yeah, I think I like this gray a little more. We'll see how it goes. And then there's this arrow here where it's transparency. And you can shift it down. I'm actually going to click on this and send it backwards until all my stuff's in front of it. So as I make, see that it's behind the goat now, it's behind all this stuff, and I can still go through and, sorry, I lost it. You can shift this then to be as light or dark as you want. And it does that. So if I wanted this even brighter, like say I don't want it to go transparent in the back, I can just make it that solid white and have full transparency. And now you can see this clearly because there is other white in the imagery, so that works. Or if I didn't want a full banner across the back, I can have it kind of go here. So you still get some of the background, and then you can move things up to be within that space. That's kind of small for the KW, so I'd probably put something else there and, you know, not do that way. Perhaps like this. And the goat can be made bigger if we want. And kind of move this up. You know, there are a lot of things that you can do to play with this. So we have about 15 minutes left. And there's one thing that I wanted to do that I think would be helpful to everybody that I wanted to make for myself. In the team meeting, I think a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Aubrey shared these signs that people are putting out saying that they have a buyer. So this is something that we can do quickly. We'll go to home, and I want to create a design. I don't want a template. I want custom dimensions. So I called the sign company, and I found out what size the dimensions are, their signs. So a sign itself is 18 wide by 12 tall, and that is in inches. Let's do that again, 12, 18. Lost that. So, and then I want to create a new design. Oh, except for I did that opposite. We're going to go 18 by 12. And we'll just resize it. Okay, so this is the shape of the sign that we want. So we can either pay the sign company and their designer to make the sign for us, or we can make our own. So since we have the KW colors, and all that, we can easily make our own. And since these are the signs that Aubrey shared with us, we know that this layout is okay with them. So I'm going to go to my elements. I'm going to use this square that I use all the time. I like to put it slightly over the edges of the size of the design so that I know I'm never going to be losing out. That it's never going to, you know, have a white border or anything around it. That's just my safety net. Because you can see that it's not showing up, but it gives me a bleed margin. So their signs, it's slightly above 1/2 and 1/2. So I'm going to go a little higher here. Okay. Now, because I've worked in this long enough, I have the KW logo already loaded in, and I can size this down. They have it, the layout a little different, but the main thing I'm going for is the space on it, because I also want to, for my own personal use, have let's see, I want to add myself in here. I have myself as the background. This goes through. Keller Williams. I want my own logo here. So I'm going to bring that to the corner. I'm going to probably center this a little. I'm going to go to text. We're going to add a heading. And we can move this up. Now, Keller Williams uses, what is their font? I use it often, and I can't remember right now. Keller Williams font is
Is it Helvetica?
it might be. Let's just put it to Helvetica for now. Oh. It's one that, you know, let me go back because it might just have a quick. Helvetica new. So, and I know that's in here because I've used it before. So unless they removed it. For now, we'll just leave it here, and we can download a font later if we need to. But so we go to the Keller Williams White. Thinking about selling your home. And then I'm going to add a subheading. I'm changing the copy a little bit based on like what I want to show, because they're saying buyer, but I want to say pre-approved buyer. And I'm going to change that to white. I'm going to move it up. Put it over. And then it has the phone number. So, and actually they say on all signs we have to put all offices. Is it all offices?
Isn't it each office is independently owned and operated? I can check real quick.
That's correct. Each office is independently owned and operated.
That's what I thought.
So I'm going to move this down here and make it, you know, smaller. Put it through. So I've got that on there. I'm going to add I'm not really crazy about how that looks. Maybe let's see. If I change it to the red or the darker red. So I'll play with that a little bit. Or maybe I'll move this down a little so I can make this a little bigger. I think I'm going to make this 2 different text boxes. Because then I can bring this through and have this over a little more and kind of bring this, and I can then do the thing where I space it. To kind of fit. And then I'm going to add and I want this to be as big as possible because that's what we really want them to see when you're in the car. And so I'd probably play with this still a little bit because I'm not totally happy with this, but you can see, you know, what we're looking for and how easy it is to make that sign for yourself and then send it off for printing.
Right.
And you can make your own riders that way too. and the rider is 4x18. So with having your own, all of that stuff in there, then you're able to make your own designs and have your branding in it without having to pay other people a lot of money to do it for you. Let's see. I think I got everything that I wanted to show. So I packed a lot in there. Does anybody have a question about how to do something in here that they didn't see? I can show you a couple features really quick, actually.
I have a question. It's not about something I didn't see, though.
Okay.
How do you feel that Canva compares or relates or even goes with the design studio inside Command?
I haven't looked at the design studio in Command a lot, because when I did, the templates that I saw there, I didn't see the ability to really create a lot of stuff myself. To me, it was they had provided a lot of forms that were already pre-made, and you can just personalize it to your own use. Am I correct in that?
That's basically what I do. Is I'm not near as talented as you are in Canva, but I'll make something on Canva and then pull it over to the design studio and then post it on the thing. Like, I was trying to do my knock badge and things like that in the design studio. It just was not working. So I did it on Canva and then pulled it back over.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You can create something here, download it, and then upload it into Command. And so for me, that meant into Design Studio and into the different things for creating, whether you want it for Design Studio, Facebook post, whatever you want to use it for. I would create the file here and then use it in Command. And so that, yes, that is where I would go with it, because we do have pre-made design options there. But with how I am, I felt so restricted by that because I like creating things. And also I want what I make to be branded with Keller Williams, but I also want it to be slightly different so that it doesn't just look exactly like all the other signs, because otherwise I'm not standing out a little. And I kind of want to be able to do that. So because if I'm working within their templates, I can't add my logo, I don't think. I haven't seen that there. And they're just different layout options that you can't do. So it's 1 o'clock. If you guys can stay on for just a second, I'll show you one more thing about how we how we can change photos and do a couple different things. So if you've got to go, I totally get it. I'm going to go really quick. I've been doing the thing that I've had success with lately is my Invest in Happiness challenge. And so I have all of these images that I created a template for. As far as I always have my Invest in Happiness, I have this little thing here. I always have this up in the corner. And then I find words or a phrase that kind of speaks to me and I put a different background behind it. Or sometimes I find a background I like that speaks to me and then I find something to say about it. So the same way that I made the duplicate page with Brian's image earlier, I just create a duplicate page and I put all this stuff below it. So like the other day I was looking at someone's LinkedIn profile and saw the phrase there, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. And I'm like, I'm going to make that for one of my happiness challenges and I want the door and I want it open. And so I had that concept in my head of what I wanted to create to kind of make it mine. So I have all of these pre-made things that I have not posted yet, but I have it in my back pocket. So sometimes when you have that little bit of time, and so I'm going to show you really quickly, who wants to give me a motivational phrase that they like? Does anyone have a motivational phrase they like a lot? Let's see, what's something that Bill put up recently? That was a smaller one. Did he do that in the announcements or in the? Don't let someone who gave up on their dreams talk you out of yours. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this one. So now I have 2 of those. I'm going to delete that background image. And then the phrase that we have is, was it gave up on their dreams, talk you out of yours? Mm-hmm. And we can put it over. And I'm going to delete this out because it's just one big thing. Now, I want an image behind this that goes along with dreaming. So I'm going to go to Photos. And within Photos, you can just search. And so I'm going to search because the big thing is dreams. I'm going to look for dreams. And these are all images that people have put up that relate to dreams. And I saw one I liked right in the beginning, but I'm gonna look anyway because sometimes you're inspired. Okay, this one I like, but it won't necessarily fit my thing, but I'll show you how we can deal with that. So that's a good example because it's not going to take up the whole thing. So I'm going to put this in the corner and we can bring it up. We can bring this over. Okay. It's not playing nice with me. So this is going to need a little playing with, but you can see how you can kind of go through on this and say that you want a different background color. You can choose backgrounds. And to me, this dreamscape also looks like a good thing. So if I put this through and that's the background, then I have this red here. I'm gonna send this backwards so it's underneath my profile. Bring it through yet. So I'm not crazy about this particular design, but you can see how you can add backgrounds, you can add pictures, you can add words and create things that you want to do simply by doing that and also keeping within the template. So I'm not going to keep this one because I need to work on it a little bit, but it gives you an idea of where to go. I think that's all that I had to show you today. Oh, you can also animate things. So I'm going to go to Brian's goat design. and we can animate this. And we choose whether it goes block and it comes in like that, or you can do it as a fade. You can do it as a rise, tumble. So I kind of liked tumble. We don't actually need this here. And we can put this through, kind of be there. So now this is actually an animated thing that you can download. And it's MP4 video, and that can go on to Facebook as well. So I like how, you know, when people see it, it's just going to tumble. So aside from being a solid image, it'll catch your attention a little bit, because as you pass over it, it'll all tumble into place. Did anybody have any questions?
Okay, I have a question now.
Okay.
Earlier when you were talking about the transparent backgrounds, so what I was wanting to do is to make a template with like my email, phone number, everything like that, that when we're in Command, we have to put on all the ads, and I just wanted one already made. So if I wanted one already made, but on a transparent background so that I could post it over like any picture or anything, and it wouldn't like be where unlegible basically, what would the best route to be doing? That gray square, like you said, and then just put it on that?
If you're creating like all of your type out and you just want things through, like say Brian has this, for example, where we did the logo. I'm going to go to all my designs. We'll open this up. If you go into this, and when you're downloading it, you select here, transparent background, all the white that's here is going to go away. And it'll have that transparent background. So when you download it, then you bring this up. Oh, it downloaded the whole. Because there are two of them. Here, give me a second. Because I didn't just choose one. I forgot that there are 2 pages. So you can do 2 pages, or you can just do 1 page. And I want the transparent background. So when I bring this up and put it on my desktop, I'm actually going to call this the transparent back. Then anything you wanted to put it into, like say I have his Word document here. If I go to Insert, Picture from File, Desktop, Brian's logo, transparent background, I'm going to insert it. And it's there. It's hard to tell because it's on white, but it's a transparent background. Did that help? And then you can, you know, resize it and do what you want to do. Sometimes I've found I don't like things to be the same, like I feel like they have an extra edge that they don't necessarily need. So I do have Photoshop. I sometimes open the image that I created and I have the transparent background. I'm going to open that, see how it has the squares behind it. That shows that it is a transparent background PNG, but I don't want to have to deal with having that extra all the time. So I might bring it in here and just crop it and save it. So if you have a program that you can use to crop images, I tend to do that after I create things in Canva, so it doesn't leave that extra margin to get in the way of what I'm doing, because sometimes when you're in a design, even if the design doesn't take up room, you get the lines and that kind of makes a mess for me, and I just don't like it there. So I do often crop it, and then I'll just file and save. And now it doesn't have the extra edges on it. Anything else? Okay. Well, then I think we are done. I'm going to go into this. I'll save that. And I'm trying to see. Oh, here we go. I'm going to stop screen share. And if nobody has any more questions, we'll stop it for today and we're good.
You have been amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and watch this video again because it's so much that I want to learn. Thank you to A Brilliant Mind.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Have a good day.
Y'all take care.
everybody.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.